Välkommen till Sybren Kooistra. This is our guest from Holland.
Yeah.
And you are the campaign manager of the GroenLinks.
Yes, the green left.
Green left. I try to speak Dutch.
GroenLinks sounds good. It sounds good.
But you understood it, so I like that. And you are going to talk about the success for your party and maybe some other stuff about other parties in Holland.
Yes, without data, but with my own little analysis.
With yourself.
Why the Social Democrats failed and why we won.
Yes.
Oh, your presentation wasn't done yet. Okay. So this is me and this is Jesse Klaver, the Trudeau lookalike from the Netherlands. This 31-year-old beauty boy. There's about 20 Instagram accounts on Facebook and on Instagram with memes where it's all about wanting to have his babies. We have a huge amount of voters among younger ladies. That's because of this pretty boy here. I did the rest. I did the campaign. And 10 years ago, I worked for the Obama campaign. And when we started off, we tried to do two things differently, I guess, than other political parties. The one thing we said, and maybe it's the same in Sweden, I don't know, but journalists and opinion makers and politicians and unions say that the young don't do anything anymore. The only thing they want to do is collectivism, but they won't go out in the streets and try to change the state of the country. And we thought, scratch that, we don't believe that. If you have the right story, people will actually engage and do stuff for you. The second thing we said is, we have almost no money to do this campaign. Facebook has become just as important as Twitter and traditional media. Let's create an amazing Facebook campaign. That's basically the premises of our electoral success. And wow, you did fuck it up. I made an amazing presentation, but okay, all right. So this is GroenLinks. You don't write it. This is not the logo like this. And we went from the smallest party on the left to the biggest. We became 4 times as big. And the exact opposite happened to the Social Democrats in the Netherlands. I love them, but I can always laugh at them at the same time. And I think this old Thomas Jefferson quote, if not absolutely sure it is from Thomas Jefferson, can explain a big part of the Social Democrats' loss and our win. In matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. And I think what the Social Democrats have been doing for the last 20 years is the opposite. In matters of principle, they swam. In matters of campaign style and form, they have not innovated, changed, have not found a way to speak to a new electorate. So, is this visible? Sort of. This is the polls of the Social Democratic Party since the 1964. And what you see here, this is when they talked about economy, about class struggle, like old socialist, social democratic stuff. This is probably the age where Sweden was a social democratic utopian dream. This is the 1990s, the third way, Bill Clinton, Blair, triangulation. We're not left, we're not right, we're just the best at it. And that worked for a while, but didn't really work. And then in the last 10 or 20 years, all bets are off. They've lost almost every election. They've tried 7 new leaders. They've had 10 different narratives to talk about, like pro-immigration, anti-immigration, heavy left, totally status quo neoliberal. And it didn't work. Nobody knows what they stand for anymore. And this is too bad. This is the meme of Trump. Probably everyone saw it yesterday where he had this fight with CNN, pro wrestling fight. He's a lunatic. We know that. But politics is an arena of priorities. At least that's how I see it. So if we all talk about issues of identity, the first and second and third reason for people to vote or choose which political party to vote for is going to be something that has to do with identity. Or, like Corbyn or Bernie did, you can talk about economic issues, bringing economic back into the discourse, in the narrative, in the priorities of voters, and people will vote left again. And these two pros will probably know the statistics better than I do, but my basic understanding is that if you look at Western countries, 2/3 of the electorate is economic left-wing, 2/3 is conservative when it comes to identity issues. And what you've seen in the last 20 years is that most elections have changed into becoming a more identity-based arena. So there's always, in politics, there's a majority, there's a minority, and there's an elite. And you represent a majority, and you choose an elite or a minority to fight with. And that changes the views of the voters on what to vote for. What you see with Corbyn and Bernie is that they've basically brought back this 1980s leftist utopia, socialist something, free healthcare, free education, stop the banks, stop tax avoidance. And that's, I think, what created all this enthusiasm and engagement and brought these issues back into the political arena in these countries. And I think that's the problem with most social democratic parties in other countries. They haven't been able to do this. So utopia is a long way from here, but talking about utopia is, I think, the way for left parties to win elections. So a few things have happened the last 2 decades. The first thing is voters do not stay with their political parties. There's no base anymore. People vote and float. You have to win over a voter. The second thing that has changed is that mass media has become social media, and social media has become just as important as mass media. I would say even more important, because mass media is in a crisis, doesn't know what to say and how to keep their position, so they're following social media more than they're doing their own work these days. So that changes the way you can do politics. So for example, the right-wing, xenophobic populists with their weird hair and their weird stances, like Geert Wilders here, they can shout without boundaries. That's what happened in 10 years ago, 6 years ago with Twitter. And Trump is still doing that right now. That's what works for populists. What Facebook has done is made it sure that engagement has become more important than investment. For example, our electoral war chest was about 1/10 of the Social Democrats, and about 1/10 of the Socialist Party, and about 1/10 of the Liberal Party. But still, we were able to have way more engagement and attention from voters than they did, because we made something that engaged people, because we made some very creative stuff that we really believed in ourselves. So passion has become more important. That really works in the way that Facebook works. So this is The Political Brain. I don't know how many people have read this book. This is an amazing book, I think, about how important values and identity, emotions are for voters. If you look at Facebook, where they changed a few years ago with not just the like, but with the heart and the happy smile and the wow and stuff, it sounds so ridiculous, but it's super important. Everything that goes viral is really close to an emotion. And that's what you have to tap into. You have to tap into engagement. You have to tap into passion. That's where the left political parties can create a whole new engagement via Facebook. And it doesn't have to be the Social Democratic Party. It can be any other party on the left. And what happens on Facebook is it's peak content. So I'm making content, your nephew's making content, your uncle's making content, your grandma's adding a picture of you 20 years ago. The media are trying to make clickbaits. Businesses are selling you ads. And what happens is there's so much content out there. Every second that you are on Facebook, there's 1,500 new messages standing ready for you, and you only read about 300 of those. So there's peak competition for your attention. And peak competition means you have to be really good at what you do. And really good means, at the same time, being very creative and very close to what people believe and think, very passionate. So we just made videos with me, a video maker, and a designer, and we basically blew all the competition away in the number of attention span seconds that we got from voters. Why? Because we didn't talk about polled, statistically proven issues that would work well for our electorate. No, we just looked at ourselves and thought, what is this thing that I want to hear or feel or say right now? What is exactly what is driving me? What is my emotion at this moment? Can you speak about this for me? So that's what we did. And it was all over the board what we made. And I think I've got one example here. I don't know if we have sound. We do.
We are afraid. We're all afraid of something else. Fear is your vision. Fear is black and white. Fear is what you believe, what you already thought. And what in times like these is reinforced and confirmed. We are afraid of refugees, of populists, of facts or fake news, of crazy Americans or hacking Russians, of weakness, of strength, of more, of less. We are all afraid of something. But the only thing we need to fear is fear itself. The world is how you see it. So don't hide any longer. Show yourself. Speak up and vote.
Thanks. So what we try to do is not look at the statistics of how many people are fearful about society and what we should do, or how much the potential is among optimistic people. We thought, if there's so much fear in society, let's grab that emotion and turn it around. That's what we did on all aspects. And one important thing that we did, and you see this in all, I used to be a journalist, what you see in, I think, all new media internationally that do well, if it's The Daily Show, if it's Last Week Tonight, if it's Fox.com, if it's AJ Plus, or now this, and even if it's Breitbart, it's all about adding values to objective narratives, objective analysis. You can't get anywhere anymore in this social environment without adding personality and values to your narrative. And let them talk about you. So just make sure that you're doing things that follow. Other people will follow you instead of responding to what they're doing. Trump is a master in this. This is Geert Wilders, by the way. And this says vote GroenLinks. Took us 2 hours to make this. He didn't want to go to a political debate, so we thought, oh man, you're such an undemocratic idiot. So, but he did buy advertising space during the debates. So we thought, you know what, let's give him advertising space on our channels as well. And so this small GIF went viral during the debates. So again, in matters of style, swim with the current. In matters of principle, stand like a rock. And I think that what we did is we stood like a rock in matters of principle. Even, for example, one very clear example is that we were outspoken 100% for refugees. More refugees than we're having right now. Let's get them from Greece and bring them to the Netherlands. That's something that all pollsters told us never to do. But we stood with principle, and that, I think in the end that works. And in matters of style, swim with the current. And if there's so much competition out there, and if it's so chaotic, this period that we're living in, time that we're living in, it's only getting more chaotic. You have to be fucking passionate and amazing in what you're doing. And I think, at least in the Netherlands, social democratic parties are a bit slow and boring when it comes to this. That was my presentation.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sybren. I have some questions for you too. I mean, you didn't say that it out loud, but I mean, can you compare your success with Trump's success and say, no, but I mean, because he stood for his principles. He was talking about his utopia, and I mean, is it the same kind of success in different political contexts?
I'm not sure if I saw it correctly because I had Jacob translated it for me, so maybe I got misinformed. But there was this scale where there was a large gap in the left-right corner about leftist conservatism.
Yes.
And when you look at Trump and when you look at Geert Wilders, in policies they're super right-wing.
Yeah.
But in terms of what they're talking about with their voters, they are symbolically left-wing on specific issues. And I think what they've done is they've just grabbed the entire identity base, made that the most defining line between voters, and basically neutralize the economic issues.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, no, but my point is that they are talking about, and they're talking to their voters about their utopia, and they want them to follow them.
Yeah.
And this is our principle: America first. Close the borders. Get out the Mexicans. I mean, it's no secret what he wants to do. It's very open.
Sure.
If he could do that, he would do it.
If you look at the utopias of the successful parties of the last 10 years, it was Obama and Trudeau and maybe Macron, which is sort of leftist hope. Then you have like the Bernie and Corbyn with an utopia of like socialist Sweden.
Yeah.
And you have the Trumps and Wilders with their utopia of a nation like it used to be in the 70s that never existed, where it's just white people everywhere.
And you said you took the Social Democratic voters because the voters changed or the parties changed?
Yeah, we didn't change our stances. The voters went to us.
Yes.
And when you look at the one reason why Social Democratic voters have still voted for the Social Democrats the last 10 years is usually because of party characteristics. Basically, they like ideologies of other parties more, but when it comes to who do you think could be the next prime minister, they always think about the Social Democrats. And the other political parties have professionalized, and the Social Democrats have basically lost their excuse to get voters to come.
The self to blame, of course.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sybren. So.